wrapped up some organization stuff. It's 11:30, I'm in Las Vegas, and there's kind of some breaking news coming out of none other than the Bellagio. Speaking of the Bellagio, we just got here. We're gonna play some 5-10. There's a 10-20 game. If it's good, I'll play, but I'll play the 5-10 no matter what. So let's get in there. It's been what I would assume a little over a year since I've stepped foot in this poker room, but here I am in what can only be described as the cash game mecca of poker. I don't make the trip out too often to the strip poker games, as I feel like most of the time these games are a little tougher or not that exciting, but today we have a pretty interesting one. And the very first hand of note, early position makes it $30 to go. There's a couple of calls, and the small blind, definitely an aggressive player, makes it a 3-bet to 140. I'm directly to his left in the big blind, and I find myself with the ladies. An interesting spot. We can go a couple of ways here, but I think the only way that works for me and suits my aggressive nature is going to be 4-betting. I'll be in position for the entirety of the hand, and I think just calling here is a little bit of an alarm. Not an alarm for the other players, but an alarm for me. All that to be said, we 4-bet to 400. The action folds back to the small blind, and he did not realize that I 4-bet, and he folds his hand with a chip to the dealer, like he's, realizing that he won the pot and tipping the dealer. It's at that point that I tell him that he should take his cards back. I'm in the pot. After a little bit of confusion, it seems like the dealer is able to let the player know that he's actually got action on him, and I 4-bet. He decides to just pass up on the opportunity to take my money, and I win the pot. Okay, so I don't want to spoil the next hand, but there is so much that happens here and a lot that I'm going to try to explain. So just bear with me, hear me out on the entirety of the story, and help me make sense of this. In this following hand, early position makes it $38 to go. The middle position player calls. I'm in the hijack with pocket sixes, an easy spot for us to set mine. A bunch of people in the hand with a bunch of money. Let's get some gamble on. The cutoff calls as well, and so does the small blind. We're going like 5 ways off to a flop that comes queen 5 deuce. If I'm not going to flop an overpair or a set, feels like this is honestly not that bad. The action checked over to the initial raiser. He decides to throw out a pretty chunky c-bet of $90. Going a little over half the size of the pot, the middle position player folds, and with the action on me, I think we have a pretty easy spot to just give up our hand. One, there's a small chance that we're getting reverse implied odds, which is something that is not talked about too much on this channel because we don't go down the super theoretical road. But to keep it pretty simple, there's a small chance that if I do make my hand, that it could work in the inverse. Either way, I make the call. I'm feeling a little dangerous, and that is a problem because my call then sets off the domino effect where the cutoff calls, and so does the small blind. This is the absolute worst disaster, but you know what can save that? A 6 can. What the heck just happened? We turn ourselves from a pretty crap hand to what feels like the effect of nuts here. All of that is put to pause when my opponent from the small blind open jams, having everyone in the hand covered. What the actual hell is going on? This is honestly a really crazy move for several reasons. Let's just start with the simple fact that this is over a 3x river or turn pot bet. What the heck is going on? The even weirder thing is, and I don't mean to throw anyone under the bus, at the end of the day, good, bad, whatever happens, the only person we can traditionally blame here in reality is me for peeling off the flop with such a bad hand and being put in this position. The one thing that makes me feel a little uncomfortable is that everyone on the other side of the table is speaking in a language that I don't understand. Regularly, this is not a problem at all. I speak Spanish. I speak Spanish to my family. This is fine. What's not fine is when people that are involved in the hand are doing that. And it leaves me and the other cutoff player kind of in this weird spot. Whether they're speaking in a different language or not, or speaking in the language that I understand but speaking under their breath, it holds the same effect. People are getting information of the hand, or might be getting information of the hand, and I have no idea what's going on over there. I'm in seat 7, seat 1 and seat 3 are the ones talking, and they're also in the hand. That's kind of a problem, or at least to me that is. And maybe I'm overreacting, and maybe it's because of what happens in this hand, but I don't know. Let me know in the comment section down below if there was like 5 people that from your perspective looked like they were all traveling together or friends and speaking in a language that you maybe didn't understand. and we were in a big pot, and the guy just 5x turn jam pot the turn, and the other guy that's in the hand is tanking forever and makes a really big laydown. I don't know. It's kind of a tricky spot. This should have all been red flags for me, and even though I turned a massive hand, that what in reality feels like the second nuts here is I only lose to 3-4, and I'm assuming pocket queens would have called in front of me. Yeah, this is kind of a weird spot. To be quite fair, I just don't know how I end up ever on this turn card with a better hand. Literally ever. I don't think I'm ever going to have 3-4 suited here. This is the best hand I'm ever going to have. So I make the call here, as dumb as it sounds. I can't believe I even thought about it for more than a split second. The cutoff has relinquished his hand, and the cutoff is so upset that he goes over to discuss it with that side of the table as to why they're talking during the hand. This whole thing is insane, and I hope you guys are following me. I'm trying to be as fair as possible in describing the situation as it unfolded in front of me. We are asked how many times we want to run it. I let the opponent know that I always leave it to the other person, and he asked for twice. The first river comes out the 7 of clubs, and the second river comes out the 10 of diamonds. Doesn't look like it changes much to me. I either have the best hand, or my opponent is going to show me exactly what he shows me. He shows me 3-4 here. So I honestly have no idea how to react to that. And to be totally transparent and genuinely honest, let me actually turn on the camera so you can see my face as I say this. So I just wanted you guys to see my facial expression so you can kind of see what I'm thinking in my head. Obviously, in the moment, I was extremely uncomfortable and kind of felt like a little naked, as dumb as it sounds. Hear me out, I guess. Like, it's one thing for people just to be talking outside of the hand, but like I said, seats 1, 2, 3, and 4 seemed to me like they were all friends and they were all obviously speaking the same language that I did not understand. Seat 3 tanked forever and they had changed something and he ended up folding, right? That's all I saw, was that two people that are in the hand are speaking a language I don't understand. They're saying things I have no idea what they're saying. So that's that. I just wanted to reiterate, thank you to the Bellagio staff, to the management on staff. I explained this to them and they immediately told me that I can change tables, and they were very adamant to everyone involved that you can't do that. So big thank you to them, and even thank you to the other players. I voiced my uncomfortability. I told them how that's just not good etiquette. That's really poor etiquette and I guess technically against the rules. And they understood that and they respected that. And for the rest of the session, this was not any trouble. So I just wanted to be as honest and transparent as I possibly could be. I have no idea what to do or how to react. Like, I just didn't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't mean to overreact. It's okay, it happened. Things like this are just gonna happen sometimes. Just as easy as they could be making fun of each other or being like, what are you gonna do now? I got the nuts, you should probably fold. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section down below what you would have done. Is this something that you guys run into? Like, this feels crazy. Massive thank you to the Bellagio, their entire staff. They were wonderful, and it wasn't a problem ever again for the rest of the session. So long-winded, I'm sorry, but thanks for hearing me out. Well, looking to make some money back here, we're into this game for $3,000 now. Early position limps, late position limps, small blind ISOs to 50, and I look down at pocket Kirans, baby. This is exactly what we needed. The doctor was ordering something sweet and delicious. I make it $200. I realize that going big is a pretty good option here. Early position is a very wonderful gentleman that has definitely had a couple of drinks in him, so he's been getting a little frisky and not allowing to be pushed around at all. So making it bigger is important. We got to penalize him to get in there. It seems like that does not matter whatsoever because he makes the call. The middle position limper, or late position limper, I should say, folds, and the small blind calls as well. We're going three ways off to a flop that is not very good for pocket kings, as it comes ace, jack, 6, rainbow. Action check to me, and I decide to throw out a c-bet of 200. The limper calls, the small blind folds. We're going out of position to a turn card that comes the 10 of spades. And with the action on me, my opponent only has about 225 some odd dollars behind, so I just decided to put it all in here. We're going off to a river card coming out one time for max pain, and it comes a jack of clubs. I show my hand, and he shows jack 8 of spades. Oh my goodness. Good hand to you, sir. Pocket Kiran's going down in flames. Nothing is going my way in today's session, and it is absolutely painful.
We're struggling in today's session, and let me tell you something, it's not for the lack of premiums, because we've been getting a bunch of them. In this next hand, I top up to 600, and I could not have topped up at a better time. As early position raises to 30, the next act player calls, and I'm on the button with pocket ladies again! Easy spot for us to squeeze and look like an absolute punch or a bluff. I'm getting stacked and destroyed at this point. These players have to think I'm full of absolute horseshit. I make it $170 to go. Action folds back to them, and they both fold. Guys, come on, please. Give me a chance to get unstuck. Continuing the hot streak of hands, we look down at King Queen offsuit. Full me in the hijack with an easy open to 30. Both the blinds call, and the flop is as good as it's ever going to get for my hand as it comes Queen at 6 deuce with 2 diamonds. Looking to get values from flush draws as well as some random straight draws and more importantly, pairs. I make it $60 to go, going 2/3 of the pot here. Actually fairly big on this board. I get both players to somehow make the call and the turn card is the ace of hearts. In initial, it's a little worrisome, but in reality, I don't think this is a card that's going to be interacting with both players all that often. Most of the time, I'm going to be up against either a flush draw or still a pair of queens. So with the action checked over to me, I am still betting for value / equity denial. I make it 140 and the small blind calls. The river card comes out the 3 of spades and the action checks over to me. At this point, some of the straight draws come in. That coupled with the simple fact that it's a little hard to get value here. Even for me, this is a little thin. I just check it back and my opponent shows ace 8 off. What the heck? What is going on today, guys? This is not fun. I'm getting whacked. Well, King Queen was not able to do it for us last time, but this time around, we're going for it again. This time, the straddle is on to $20. I make it $60 to go here from early position. The cutoff 3 bets to $200. Action folds back to me, and to this point, to be quite honest, I've been showing down pretty strong hands. I haven't really played any real junkers as I usually do. That coupled with the fact that I'm stuck, I'm going to put max pressure on, I'm going to run it once, and I sure as heck hope to win this hand. I go for gusto. I 4-bet jam all in. Again, it's really only for like 50 or 60 big blinds considering there's a straddle out there. My opponent's stack is not that deep. He gives us the sly smile, showing us and indicating to us that he has gotten caught with his hand in the cookie jar. He folds, and just like that, we take down like 250 bucks uncontested. You know what they say, third time's a charm. I'm under the straddle, and I make it $60 to go with King Queen of clubs. We have upgraded to a suited variety of this hand. It folds all the way to the straddle, who decides to make the call. Once again, we're going with a premium off to a flop where we flop some more equity. 4-3 deuce with 2 clubs. Flopping overs, and more importantly, that beautiful flush draw. Action checks to me, and I decide to bet for about half the size of the pot. I make it 70. The opponent thinks about it for some time. It looks like he even wants to raise, and then decides better against it and makes the call. We're going off to a river card, or a turn card, I should say, rather. That comes a deuce of spades. He checks it over to me, and this is kind of a weird spot. I'd rather just check this through, look to get the showdown with my king high that can still be good, actually, and furthermore, allow my opponent to bluff on rivers when I improve. And the river card is not a good one, as it comes the ace of diamonds. At this point, my opponent once again thinks about it for a bit before deciding to lead out for 140. We just can't find a way to get there or hold, whatever the case may be. We have to fold. Our opponent is kind enough to show us that he had 7-5 offsuit. A 6 of clubs or an ace of clubs would have been significantly more fun, but as it stands, my opponent's got a straight and I got king high. I have to fold. This following hand is a culmination of frustration and pushing the envelope. The middle position player makes it $30 to go. I'm in late position with ace-3 offsuit and I decided 3-bet to 110. Let's stop right there for a second. I'm all for being aggressive. I hate this hand though. Really, Kieran? You could do better. We've been playing, honestly for the most part, fairly decent to this point, but why compound on running bad with playing bad? This is a clear example of that. To this point, not a whole lot, we're just running pretty bad. Things aren't panning out, but now we're just throwing run bad and play bad. Well, I'm telling you the story. We've got quite the story to tell. The big blind cold calls, which is not that, odd here as it's been happening all day. The initial raiser calls as well, and we're going off to a flop that comes 9-9-5 with 2 diamonds and a club. I don't have a diamond in my hand, so when the action checks to me, I don't need to blow up the size of this pot. We already did pre-flop. I check it back. The turn card comes in 3 of clubs, and once again the action checks to me. At this point, we can now make up for the weirdness with maybe something a little more smart. Considering we've got to this turn card now, we can do something called the little merge bet, you know, throwing that little term around. Maybe I don't even know what it means. So I make it 100. The small blind makes the call, or the big blind I should say, and the initial raiser thinks the better of it and folds. We're going off to a river card that comes out the 8 of clubs. I don't like it for many reasons. Straight draws come in. So when the action checks over to me, especially against this specific player who I saw call down with 5th pair in a 3-bet pot for an all-in sizing on the river with pocket 4s earlier. I just don't think that this is the player type to be bluffing. I just waved the white flag here and he shows pocket 4s once again. I realize the culmination of the run back got to me and I let a little bit of loose play fall in there and lose some extra money. So instead of blasting off the rest of my Bellagio bankroll, I think the better of it and call it quits.
I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy.
We just got a good old-fashioned shellacking. Didn't play for that long. I think we played for like maybe 2 hours or an hour and a half. And I'd be lying to you if I said that I didn't catch some cards, because we did. We had like kings, lost those. Had queens a couple times. Didn't get any action with those. Just one of those days. I'm sure if we grinded it out, maybe some positivity would have happened. Probably would have lost more. I felt it in me. I was just feeling real fucking awful. I was feeling real bad. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. Just wasn't feeling good. Was getting whacked up. And I was like, let me save my losses here. Didn't really lose that much. Yeah. Let's talk more when I get up to the parking lot. Okay, we got whacked up pretty good today. We did not lose that much. I'm talking like we lost every penny that we owned, but that's not the case. We were into the game today for 3,600 and we were out for 1050.
I'll put a little bow on it, as you guys know I love to do. This breaking news information. The Bellagio made a really big announcement that they were going to be allowing poker players to vlog once again. There's a little bit of a caveat, or a caveat, some may say there. So you submit an email, they send you a response back, an automated response, which is just the questionnaire, I guess I would say, the application, and you send that back to them. Got a pretty quick response. I did it a little early, almost like the first day or two that it came out, and yeah, ended up coming in and having a good time. Again, this is a really big step in the right direction. A lot of the vloggers that you know and love, i.e. Brad Owen and Andrew Neeme, they all made a living technically. So to put a bow on it, I'm pretty sure you guys know how it works. Like the Aria, the Bellagio are the main ones, and they're going to be allowing you to do the whole poker vlog thing. So yeah, check them out, I guess.
It'll turn you to a dog like a keto, and expose to a cat like a cheetah. They smoke my partner like reefer. Dímelo porque yo no entiendo, mi gente must really need Jesus. He said real blood, I never seen the crypt and I believe.